Hello, my name is Beck and welcome to my July TBR, all of the books that I'm hoping to read during the month, but I also know that I've been in a bit of a reading slump lately in terms of motivation. So will I pick all of these up? I really hope so, because a lot of them are audiobooks that are short or graphic novels, but I do have a few chunky ones in here. So I may as well start with a chunky one, and that is one that has been on my channel for a little while during this year, and that is Ruin of Kings. I am reading this as a buddy read. So because I'm doing it as a buddy read, I don't plan on finishing it during July, but I do plan on starting it during July. This is a whopping 705 pages long, and so I'm aiming to read it in 50-page chunks, maybe 50 pages a week or something, just to fit it in around my current life, because there is a lot going on. Both my partner and I are organising a wedding, and we're actively house hunting and going to inspections, and I'm working full time, and I'm doing 2 videos a week, and I'm reading, apparently. So it's all happening, but I hope to squeeze this in around all of that. So cross your fingers for me, because I'm really going to need the motivation. All I know about this one as well is that it's a high adult fantasy with a bunch of multiple perspectives. There are demons in here, maybe demonic possession. That's all I need to know. Demons in a fantasy world, amazing. Can't wait to experience this, and I know that it has a lot of different characters and politics and law, so when it comes to taking in this book, I know that I will struggle with the audio. Even if it's really good, I'm gonna really struggle, so that's why I want to read it physically. And then just while we are on chunky books that I want to read, at this point I feel like this book is a meme on my channel because it's been sticking around and has had its hooks in me for quite a while now, and that is Abaddon Skate, which is the 3rd Expanse book. And I was reading this as part of a reading challenge for Reading Booktuber's Favourite Books, and I just haven't had the chance to pick this up yet. I have been really trying to, but I know it's long, so partly I think I'm intimidated by the length of this, and I know that it will technically slow my reading progress down, because all the time that I could be spent reading shorter books, I'll be spending it reading one longer book. So I just need to start this, because this is a really high stakes science fiction book with a big cast of characters, politics happening, and a virus happening in space. So it is incredible, and I can't wait to continue reading it. I have seen up and down reviews for this book though, and I'm really hoping that this is well received by me, because I've given the first 2 books about 4.5 stars, and I'd ideally like to give this another 4.5, or even 5. So I really hope that this hits as high as I want it to. And then we've also got a new release on this TBR, and that is the Next Law of Olympus book, volume 2. And I read the first volume, I think earlier this year, and I loved it, and I cannot wait to continue. It's essentially the Olympian gods in modern day, and it follows a Persephone and Hades love story retelling with a lot of different moving parts and interesting character facets to it, which I'm really looking forward to exploring more of. And I believe this comes out early July, and I haven't actually pre-ordered it yet, so I think this is going to hit my hands very, very soon, and I'm looking forward to a graphic novel breaking up some of those longer things that I have on my reading list. And then speaking of some more graphic novels that I would ideally like to break up my reading pace with, one of them is the Tea Dragon Society, and I've heard that this is really wholesome about obviously tea and dragons, and it's just very character based and cozy. I'm really looking forward to this. It's very short, so I think I can get through it pretty quickly. And I also similarly am looking forward to Mooncakes, and this is a story that was marketed to me as a female-female romance, but it's got supernatural creatures, and again it's kind of got that cozy vibe about it. So I'm really looking forward to reading both of these, because I'm hoping to do a graphic novel video very soon, and there's no point doing the video if I haven't read several graphic novels for said video. So that is my ultimate aim. I'm sure that I'll get to these very early July. And then we're back into reading novel length books again with Terry Pratchett's Guards, and this is one of his Discworld books. I've heard rave reviews about it. My partner loves Terry Pratchett, and I have barely read any Terry Pratchett. I've read one book, The Colour of Magic. I gave it 3.5 stars. You're not supposed to start there. I regret starting there because it was a collection of 3 short stories, and I don't like short stories generally, so I wish I loved it more, and I've been told that this is brilliant. So I don't know anything about it. I do apologize, except that it's shiny, which is pretty cool. I don't know what the plot involves. I know that Rincewind was one character in the first book. I think he was a wizard, and then there was another character who was like a tourist with a magic chest, and they went on a quest together. So I think this is going to entail maybe those characters, but also maybe be set in a city that's in the same world but not in the same location they are. So I've heard you can start at different points in Terry Pratchett's series, and I'm really just learning as I go and asking my partner what to do, because he bought me a whole bunch, and so he knows what to do. I don't. So I'm looking forward to going on this adventure if I get through the other books on this list. And then just to finish off this video, I have 2 more on my reading list, and they are both audiobooks. So the first audiobook is the new Stephen Leeds book. I didn't even realize that Brandon Sanderson was releasing another Sanderson book in early July, end of June, but here we are. And Stephen Leeds is a character that is a detective, and he's got all these split personalities, and there's time travel and magic and detective vibes about the first few books or the first few novellas, and I'm assuming that this is kind of in that similar vein with an investigative purpose and a whole bunch of characters, like a multitude of them trying to solve one thing. So I really liked the previous books in this series, and I obviously am hyped to read this one, but I didn't even realize it was a thing until like a week ago. So I'm looking forward to trying out the audiobook. I've noticed that a lot of these novellas of Sanderson's tend to focus really deeply on lore and world building and plot rather than necessarily building up their characters really deep. I still enjoy the character work in these stories, but I'm really hoping this one delves a bit more deeply into Stephen Leeds as a character and into his multiple personality disorder. Is it a disorder? Is it some kind of magic ability he has? It's not really very clear, and I don't know whether it's handled particularly well or if I'm just a bit too picky. I'm not sure. Either way, I'm looking forward to the fast pacedness of this audiobook. I know it's 5 hours long, so I'm going to finish it very quickly. And then the other audiobook that I want to talk about as well is by one of my favorite authors too, and that is Becky Chambers. Her sequel, A Prayer for the Crowned Shy, is coming out early July. I think it's early July as well, like Law of Olympus. It's coming out very soon at least, and I have pre-ordered this one on audio, so I'm looking forward to trying that out. This is essentially another cozy sci-fi, and it's about this character who is a non-binary tea monk, and they travel their world, I suppose, listening to people's ailments and dramas and upsets and providing perfect tea to listen to their scenario and kind of get them emotionally through what they're experiencing. And one day they decide that they're not really being fulfilled in what they're doing, and so they go off the beaten path quite literally, and they run into a robot. And robots just up and left this whole generation of people years and years ago because they didn't want to essentially be slaves anymore. And so now that this character and this robot have come together, it's like a meeting of 2 cultures almost, and there's a lot of history and a lot of new things for each of them to discover about each other, and it's very, very character driven and very beautiful. So because the first book didn't have much in the way of plot, I'm like, I really hope the sequel points it in a particular direction, which will help me latch onto it more. So I'm really hyped for this book, and I really hope that I give it more than a 3 stars, which is what I gave the first one, but I do like the general vibe and atmosphere about them. So I guess that's all of the stuff that I'm hoping to read during July. My reading has really been up and down, but setting a TBR really helps me make choices, even if they aren't necessarily always the books that I have chosen for my monthly reads. So the fact that I've got a few long ones, yes, on here, I know I'm not committing to Ruin of Kings to finish during the month of July, and I also know that a lot of these are either really short audios, either 5 hours or under, or they're graphic novels, or they're a middle grade, which in Terry Pratchett's case is quite short. So I'm really hoping that I can amp up my reading because it's kind of stagnated a little bit towards the middle of the year. I'm in like a mid-year slump, I guess. But if you are reading any of these, if you've read any of these, I would love to chat to you down below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll chat to you down in the comments, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.